I think for Ant, I need to see, we keep hearing these Jordan comparisons.
Yeah.
I need a Jordan-esque attitude. He is so talented, so gifted, shooting-wise, athleticism, but I think he needs a sense of urgency, a kill switch. Kill him.
Every season, we get a player who catches fire for a game or two. Maybe they drop back-to-back 40-point games. Perhaps even a 3-game stretch, it happens. But what doesn't happen, at least not anymore, is what Anthony Edwards just pulled off.
It's been special tonight. Edwards with the hammer!
Because in the second half of that 6-game stretch, Edwards did something no player since Kobe Bryant has ever pulled off. Not LeBron, not Steph, not Harden, nobody. 150 plus points, 50 plus made shots, 25 plus made free throws. And when you look at the big picture, the full numbers are even crazier. He put up 41, 43, 31, 39, 32, and 44. 6 straight games of non-stop fireworks. That's 38.3 points per game over nearly 2 weeks. A level of consistent, sustained scoring we literally haven't seen since Kobe Bryant dropped 50 in 4 straight games. And here's the reality. Anthony Edwards isn't becoming a problem, he already is one. A problem every single team in the league suddenly has to figure out how to solve. Anthony Edwards just put together a stretch of games we really haven't seen in years. It started against the Phoenix Suns, where he lit them up for 41 points on 14 for 24 shooting and 5 for 11 from 3. Minnesota still lost by 1, but the fireworks were only getting started. The Wolves then faced the Kings, and Edwards went nuclear again. 43 points, 16 for 29 from the field, 5 for 11 from deep, another monster night, and another tough loss. This time in overtime after blowing a 10-point lead with under 3 minutes left. Then, against the best defense in the league, he finally cooled off, if you can even call it that. Edwards dropped 31 points and 5 assists on a rougher 7 for 19 shooting, but still knocked down 5 of 10 from 3. Minnesota lost again, but Ant was clearly nowhere near slowing down, because the very next game, he bounced right back. Against the Celtics, Edwards hung 39 points on 12 for 24 shooting and another 5 for 11 from deep, snapping the Wolves' 3-game skid and dragging them to a much-needed win. Then came the Spurs. Edwards stayed scorching, putting up an ultra-efficient 32 points on 13 for 18 shooting, plus 4 for 6 from 3. Another game, another win, another night where everything he touched seemed to drop. And that brings us to the final game of the stretch, against the Pelicans, where Edwards might have delivered his best performance of them all. Facing the struggling Pelicans, Minnesota walked in confident, maybe too confident. New Orleans refused to roll over, and while Edwards started the night a bit passive, everything changed the moment the third quarter began. He attacked the rim, hit threes, and completely took control of the offense. And yet, despite all that, the Pelicans still held a 3-point lead heading into the fourth. That's when things got interesting. Chris Finch did something he rarely does. He opened the fourth quarter with Edwards on the floor. Ant normally sits the first 5 minutes of the fourth, but not this time. The Wolves were suddenly fighting for their lives, and Edwards told the coaching staff he wasn't coming out. New Orleans threw everything at him. Pressure traps, doubles, and he still found ways to score. Edwards dropped 9 in the fourth, but with 7 seconds left, Minnesota was still down. Then Ant took the inbound, drove straight to the rim, and forced overtime with a clutch layup.
Edwards on the drive, got the lay! We are tied with 2.3.
The first game-tying, all-game-winning shot of his career in the final 3 seconds. And he wasn't done. In overtime, the Pelicans doubled him the second he crossed half court, so Edwards shifted gears and became a playmaker. He hit 2 of his 3 shots, handed out 3 assists, and orchestrated a 20-13 overtime period that helped Minnesota escape with a 149-142 win. At the end of the night, Edwards finished with 44 points, 34 of them after half-time, on 16 for 30 shooting, 6 for 13 from 3, and 6 for 8 at the line. He basically channeled his inner MJ, playing the entire second half just to drag Minnesota to a win. And when it was over, exhausted and catching his breath, he still said,
I should have had 50.
this wasn't some one-off masterpiece either. It was just the latest chapter in a season where Edwards has repeatedly willed his team across the finish line. From his 41-point explosion on opening night, to the second half takeovers he pulled off against Sacramento and Utah earlier in November. With this game, Edwards capped off a completely unreal stretch. 6 straight games with at least 30 points, averaging 38.3 per night, and looking genuinely unguardable. In those 6 games, he posted 41, 43, 31, 39, 32, and 44, tying Kevin Love for the longest 30-point streak in Timberwolves history. And it gets even more absurd. He scored 230 points over that span, the most in any 6-game stretch in Wolves history, breaking his own record from last season, and the most by any player in the NBA this year. And he did it with absurd efficiency, 55.6% from the field, 48.4% from deep, and 75% from the line, all while averaging 5 rebounds and nearly 4 assists. But the craziest stat of all is what he did after halftime. Of those 230 points, 150 came in the second half or overtime. In that span, he shot 61% from the field, 58% from 3, and 77% at the line after the break. That level of second half dominance just doesn't happen in today's league. In fact, the last player to put up 150 plus points, 50 plus field goals, and 25 plus free throws after halftime in a 6-game stretch was Kobe Bryant in March 2007, right in the heart of his prime. In the same season, he won his 2nd straight scoring title during the same stretch where he dropped 50 plus in 4 straight games. And now, here's Anthony Edwards matching that level of production. It doesn't matter how much pressure defenses throw at him, and trust me, they throw everything. He keeps finding ways to beat it. And speaking of that dominance, we need to talk about why Edwards suddenly looks almost unguardable, because during this stretch, he became a true 3-level scorer. And by 3-level, I mean there isn't a single scoring method he can't use to beat a defense. But to understand how he got here, you actually have to rewind to last season. Before last year, Edwards had never averaged more than 3 made threes per game and had never attempted more than 8 per night since entering the league. Then last season happened, and he made a massive leap. He became one of the highest volume 3-point shooters in the NBA, arguably second only to Steph Curry. He turned into a straight-up flamethrower. He led the league in total threes made. Teams had to pick him up the moment he crossed half court, and his pull-up game from deep became one of the most dangerous weapons in basketball. But as the season went on, especially in the playoffs, defenses adjusted. They threw doubles, they threw traps, they forced the ball out of his hands, and in crunch time, it showed. Edwards struggled against those blitzes, often looking frustrated and boxed in as teams made stopping him their entire game plan. So Edwards made it a point to work on every part of his game during the off-season, especially to counter those double teams. His focus was mostly on sharpening his post-up game, improving his catch-and-shoot speed, and polishing his mid-range jumper. And it's already paying off. All of that work has taken his 3-level scoring to an entirely new level. This season, he's shooting 41.8% on 8.5 threes per game, keeping him in the top 10 for 3-point volume. His mid-range game is also showing major improvement, hitting a career-high 40% on 3 attempts per game. On top of that, he's a career best 71% at the rim, even though he's taking more shots from mid-range and beyond the arc. He's also drawing a career-high 7.5 free throws per game, which adds another layer to his scoring arsenal. Edwards combines explosiveness and finesse, and that rare blend makes him a nightmare matchup. Basically, there's no shot you can comfortably leave him open for. He's hard to stop at any level of the floor. For one, Edwards has firmly established himself as a legitimate 3-point threat. During this stretch, he's knocking down 50% of his threes, and even his off-ball shooting has helped him beat double teams with ease. Right now, he's shooting an absurd 53.1% on catch-and-shoot threes, and NBA.com ranks him in the 88th percentile for spot-up plays. His mid-range game has also become a major weapon. By adding this layer, Edwards can go off-ball, find space, and create more scoring opportunities no matter how much pressure he's under. He's hitting a career best 40% from mid-range, which makes him incredibly versatile. And let's not forget isolation scoring. Edwards has never been more dominant one-on-one, averaging 6.6 ISO points per game, tied with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for second in the league. His isolation frequency has also risen by 6.9% from last season, giving Minnesota a true one-on-one threat who can score in bunches from anywhere on the floor. Put it all together, and Edwards is thriving even when doubled. His three-level scoring, combined with his isolation ability, makes him nearly impossible to guard and gives the Wolves a massive advantage. Another thing that makes Ant-Man nearly unstoppable is his ability to take over when it matters most. This season, Edwards has developed a habit of starting a bit slow, only to explode in the third quarter. And the big leap? He's finally turning into a legitimate clutch time scorer after previously struggling in those moments. Outside of a few hiccups, he's been sensational in the clutch. In situations defined as the final 5 minutes of games within 5 points, he ranks second in the NBA in points per game, first in field goal percentage, and second in three-point percentage. He showed it again versus the Pelicans, playing the entire second half, hitting the game-tying layup, and refusing to let Minnesota lose in New Orleans. Not to mention the game-sealing three against the Celtics just days earlier. That kind of mentality, the ability to take over when stakes are highest, is exactly what separates the good from the very best. That said, during this insane scoring stretch, Edwards wasn't just putting up points, he was doing it efficiently. In his 6-game heater, he was shooting 55% from the field, 48% from three on 62 attempts, and 40 for 53 from the free throw line, giving him a 69% true shooting percentage. That's straight up proof you can be ultra efficient while putting up huge volume. And Edwards is silencing anyone who doubted it. But it's not just about scoring for him. Edwards' ability to attack all three levels also opens up opportunities for his teammates. When defenses send doubles his way, guys like Randall, Dante, and others get wide open chances, and they've shown they can make them count. You saw it against the Pelicans in overtime. The Pels focused on stopping Edwards from scoring, which allowed him to slip into playmaker mode and drop 3 critical assists, helping Minnesota escape with the win. Put it all together, elite scoring, efficiency, off-ball threats, and clutch playmaking, and you get a player who isn't just dominant, he's a full-on problem for the entire league. But another underrated part of Anthony Edwards' game is his leadership. It starts with accountability. Edwards has openly taken responsibility for his slow starts in games and offered insight into what's been giving the Timberwolves trouble early in the season. After back-to-back Western Conference Finals runs, Minnesota hasn't played with the same urgency, especially on defense, and Edwards confirmed as much after a recent game, saying, "Finchie told us we can't just wait for the playoffs to start playing defense." He took accountability, telling reporters, "It seems like we don't want to play these games. We just want to fast forward the season to the playoffs and then play out all-out defense and play super hard. It just don't work like that. We got to be ready to play on any given night, and it starts with me. I came out kind of sluggish. I'll be better next game." That's the mindset of a franchise cornerstone. And the best part is he walks the talk. On defense, he sets the tone, steps up in big moments, and when the cape is needed, there are only a few players in the league who can pull a team out of a jam the way Edwards can. His mentality is only going to get stronger, and that growth will pay a huge dividends for the Timberwolves. And that's exactly what makes Edwards a real problem for the rest of the league. He can drop north of 40 points, throw the tallest player on a poster, cross over the best perimeter defender, and pull up for 3, and hit the game winner all in the same night. Edwards' talent has always been undeniable, but now he's becoming remarkably consistent. This season, he's scoring 30 or more points in 10 of 18 games, and he's averaging 28.8 points per contest. Currently good for 8th in the NBA. That would be a career best, continuing the upward trajectory he's shown every year in the league. He finished 4th in scoring last season at 27.6 points per game, and he's already raising that mark this year. If that isn't a problem for opposing teams, it's hard to imagine what is. Overall, Edwards' absurd production is a massive positive for the Timberwolves. He's keeping Minnesota afloat in an ultra-competitive Western Conference, where they sit at 15-8. If the Wolves want to make a deep post run, they need Edwards to be capable of producing stretches like this. And if anyone can do it, it's Ant-Man. He led the league in three-pointers made, became one of the most vicious in-game dunkers of his era, and has carried a franchise that was once perpetually losing to back-to-back Western Conference Finals. But even after all that, he wasn't satisfied. Over the off-season, he worked on weaknesses, sharpened his strengths, and pushed his teammates to do the same. Hours in the practice facility last summer weren't just about skill, they were about building the bond Minnesota need to survive in the West. Now it's time to see how far that belief can take him and the Timberwolves, and how unstoppable he can truly become. And if there's a player in the NBA who can make a team feel untouchable, it's Anthony Edwards. The truth is, with the way Edwards is playing, the league doesn't know how to stop him. And if this is what he's doing in December, just imagine what he could be doing in April. Could Anthony Edwards reach MVP level and become the next face of the NBA? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and check out one of these videos on your screen now.